Hi, this is Sarah, and welcome to Voices of the Valley. Today, I am super excited to talk to Chief Brian Mueller. Chief, we are going to get to know you at a whole nother level. But most importantly, I kind of want to start out by learning a little bit more about how you got into this career.
For sure.
Yeah.
Kind of a different way than most. There are some requirements for schooling and going to what's called a skills program where we learn all the police stuff. Shooting and handcuffing and driving a car and all those kind of fun things.
Like right after high school, or
no? Well, I guess if we go back to there,
let's go way. Like, where did you go to high school? Let's start.
I graduated from Woodbury High School.
Okay.
And had no intention of going into law enforcement. I had no family members. I do now, but I didn't have any family members in law enforcement. I was playing hockey and kind of bouncing around schools. Got a 2-year degree that took longer than 2 years.
When you were?
I graduated in '91.
91.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
I was just trying to figure out life. I was a young man just trying to don't want to play hockey, don't want to work, don't want to go to school. What do I want to go to school for? Ended up at the U of M, and then in business. I was at Carlson School of Business and interned at Pillsbury in the finance division.
Okay.
That was boring. Spreadsheets.
I mean, this is a big jump.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So that, at the time I was transferring to University of St. Thomas, and I realized, gosh, there's got to be something different. I was looking at psychology, and I took a class as an elective, and it was a criminal justice class, and it was taught by a BCA detective who was the lead detective on the Jacob Wetterling case.
Oh, wow.
If you remember that. And
Yeah.
this guy, Don Peterson, was fascinating. I fell in love with criminal justice. I fell in love with everything about it, and his sort of compassion as he worked and talked about this case really connected with me. And I thought, man, it's not just, just the facts, ma'am. It's not kind of those things. It's really connecting and doing good things in the community. So from there, I got an internship with Minneapolis Police Department. Realized.
Did you finish your business degree, or
I
how
got
far?
a minor, so I ended up graduating
Okay.
from St. Thomas with a criminal justice degree.
Okay.
And a business minor.
Okay.
Because I was kind of far along enough
Might
to
as
grab
well
that.
do it.
Yeah,
Might as
why
well.
not? It's another class.
Yeah.
So, I got an internship in Minneapolis, trying to kind of figure this out. And is this something I want to do? And what does this mean? I knew nothing about the profession in the field at all. And there's some really good men and women at Minneapolis, but I realized that's not where I want to work. That doesn't jive with my sort of personality or my mission in this profession, I guess, at the time. And so then I got an internship or a job with the White Bear Lake Police Department.
Okay.
I started there as a community service officer.
Okay, so I'm going to rewind a little bit. What initially piqued your interest in business? We know what shifted it. Does that still live inside of you?
I guess it was just what my dad did. My
Okay.
dad, has run companies, and so you just kind of think, well, I don't know what's out in
So
the world.
I'm
So
gonna
I'm
do
just
what
gonna
my
do
dad did. Yeah, okay.
I was really interested in the sort of operational side of business and sort of the processes, and that's still something that interests me today.
It translates.
It
yes.
does, absolutely, on how we provide services, and there's a lot of efficiencies to be met or gained in our profession as we do things differently. But yeah, it was really just, I realized I was driving to Minneapolis in rush hour, and then I would sit in a cube, and then I would go out during lunch and walk around Minneapolis with everyone else. And go back to my cube, and then get in a car and drive. I'm like, this can't
It's
be
not
it.
you. Yeah.
And so I don't know, I just started looking at what was out there, and once I had this class at St. Thomas, I thought, man, yeah, I can be out and about in the
Yeah.
community, doing things. I don't have to sit behind a cube and drive a car and give me a gun. Oh my God, that's awesome.
This all sounds very nice. I like it. What did your dad think?
Both my parents have always been super supportive.
Okay.
First of all, they're happy that I was about to maybe graduate school finally, so that was a
The
positive.
beyond 4-year plan?
Yeah, let's go. It's a joke that people have gone to school as long as I have, or called doctors and
Yeah.
lawyers. But they're happy for that, and they've always said, do what makes you happy, and that kind of comes from my grandfather, who has always said that. He worked at 3M and did what he loves, which was engineering. And they've
Okay.
always just said, no one's path, it's your own path.
Yeah.
And no one can guide that or determine that for you, and so they were super supportive. Mom's a little bit nervous, obviously.
Yeah. Are you the oldest?
I am
of
the
your-
oldest of
Okay.
3 boys.
Of 3 boys?
Yes.
Okay. So you broke through, and
Yes.
your siblings, were they pursuing what your dad did too? Or?
So my brother's a Marine, and so he had some interest early on. He was a reserve for the West St. Paul Police Department,
Okay.
but then had gone a totally different path, and he was doing other things, following some other dreams. And then he rode along with me once at White Bear as a White Bear officer to start after my CSO job, and he was like, "Oh my gosh, I love this." So he is now the deputy superintendent at the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension. So
Oh my gosh.
yeah, he's the number 2 there. Has done a ton of things. He's super successful, amazing. And then my youngest brother, who went to law school and was working for like a boutique law firm in Chicago, all of a sudden said, "I want to do public sector work." And so he came here. He worked for Pete Orpett in the county attorney's office for years, and he's now a judge in Anoka County.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
So
super
you're really
successful.
kind of all in
Yeah,
a similar business now,
Yeah.
if you will.
yeah,
Wow.
it's super awesome. I've been at meetings, and I don't know that many people can say this. I've been at like some pretty awesome meetings where we're getting some really good work done in our profession in the community. And both my brothers are there, and
Oh my
we're looking
gosh.
across the table from each other, and
Like,
no one's
how is
looking at us
this
like,
even?
"What's going on? Well, none of us should be here. Like, this is weird."
How are we at this table
Yes.
right now? What a cool journey.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then how did you end up from White Bear to here? Or was there more steps
There was more
between that?
steps. White Bear was awesome. I love kind of a similar community to this in terms of size and connection with their law enforcement. But I wanted to do some things that they just didn't offer at the time. I wanted to work SWAT, undercover, some of those things. And so I was offered a job at the sheriff's office. I spent about 24 years at the Washington County Sheriff's Office
Okay.
doing those things.
Wow, SWAT.
Yeah.
Like, so really hands-on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was so fortunate. I got to do some of the greatest things. I spent a portion of my career working undercover in narcotics and running the narcotics division, and then the entire investigative division, and also working my way up through the ranks in SWAT. And that was some of my just most memorable times with the men and women that are part of those teams. Just awesome.
Are you able to share any interesting, I don't know what you can and can't share in law enforcement, but like some interesting either cases you were on or circumstances that you got involved in?
Yeah, so I mean, a lot, they're super different. Like, so for narcotics, you really realize that what I realized. So I did some really fun, scary, like undercover work. And the men and women that do that now are still doing that today.
Like you're in street clothes.
Yeah,
When
just
you're
in street
undercover,
clothes.
right?
Yeah, I mean,
what
you
we
would-
imagine as
Yeah.
like that's what it is.
Yeah,
You're
you
in
would be
street
surprised. You might be in a Target parking lot and see
Someone's there.
a guy or a gal and just think that they're there shopping, and they're
Yeah.
actually working undercover in an undercover capacity. So,
clothes. Wow.
but you really realize that the drug use in our society is so it's so large. Like, how does one person work for the sheriff's office really affect that? How can I make a difference? So you
Like
really
we don't know. We don't
No.
know, do we?
No,
Like
I mean,
it
you
is.
could take 20 pounds off, and it's directly in the city of like Stillwater. It's directly from the cartel in Minneapolis. It's cartel members that are working in our community here that seems so safe and so awesome.
It's mind blowing a bit.
Yeah, and you realize, well, what is that doing? The cartel, after that 20 pounds is gone, they're sending another 40 pounds. So you realize it's just kind of all of us together that, there's the supply side and the demand side. So we need services for those that are addicted and battling substance use disorder. And then we also need the brave men and women that are trying to take it off the streets and fight the cartel
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. Have you been in positions where your life was close to being lost?
I don't know that I would say that, not any more than any other officer. I think every officer, every time, whether you're working SWAT or undercover or on the street, every time they go in service or say goodbye to their family members when they go to work, their wife, husband, kids, whomever they're with, they think that, something could definitely happen today. So there's been some circumstances I've been involved in where some of the officers that are working for me are involved in gunfights and on there and some different things. So yeah, there's been some scary times, but super fun too.
Are you always wearing protective gear?
I am. Yep. My wife and I talk about it, and I have a wholly administrative job now, but I'm also trying to be out in the community, and I just realize that at times, unfortunately, especially in the last several years, that sometimes the men and women just wearing the uniform and a patch and a badge could be a target. So
Yeah.
I kind of promised my wife that if she hugs me before I go to work, she's gonna feel the
gonna make
bulletproof
sure,
vest.
yeah,
My
yeah.
mom makes a joke though, when if I give her a hug, if I see her and I'm wearing my uniform, she's like, "It doesn't cover enough of you." Like, what is this? So,
Where are the parts for here,
Yes,
here, and here?
exactly.
Yeah. Have you ever gotten struck by a bullet in
No.
your vest?
no,
Oh,
thank
wow.
God.
That's really good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So, what was your was that your last step before you moved to Stillwater then?
It was, yeah. I was
Okay.
the chief deputy for Sheriff Dan Starry
Okay.
at the Washington Sheriff's Office, and just a great friend of mine. I had great opportunities at the Sheriff's Office. I miss the men and women there,
Yeah.
but I could not pass up the opportunity to put my name in a hat for Stillwater.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, we're very proud of ourselves here in Stillwater, right? We do
Yes.
think it's the very best
Yes,
place to live and play
absolutely.
and work. Did you end up moving to this neck of the woods? Or are you still Woodbury?
No, I haven't lived in Woodbury. We've lived in the valley here.
Okay.
Generally, a couple houses in Stillwater, live
Yeah.
in Oak Park, currently live in Baytown.
Okay.
So we've been in Lake Elmo, lived there for
Yeah.
a little bit. So we've been
So
here
you're
in the valley.
very much, you have
Yeah.
valley roots.
Yes.
Your wife too, is she from this neck of the woods?
She's from Blue Earth,
Okay.
farm girl down south.
Love the farm girls.
Yes, so
Yes.
yeah, she's we joke is we go back down there. I'm like, she is a city girl at heart. Like she is like she loves her family and everyone down there,
Yeah.
but she's like, I need to be in a concrete jungle sort of
Yeah.
somewhere.
She has the farm girl roots, which I think shape people.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
she is where she loves.
Yeah.
And I want to talk a little bit more about your kids and your family, but I'm going to talk about that in part 2.
Okay.
So I've asked Chief to come back in more casual clothes because I think, sometimes we have a persona in one, and I want to get to know him a little bit more personally. So stick around for part 2 of Voices in the Valley. Welcome back, part 2. I had the Chief change into something a little bit more comfortable, maybe how we'd see him on the street, perhaps.
Absolutely,
Does this
absolutely.
mean you're a Ponies fan?
I am gonna. So my oldest boy and my youngest boy play hockey,
Okay.
and so I've been a coach. So typically, you spend money on all the pony swag
Yeah.
whenever you're coaching. So I always have some kind of that or one of my kids' colleges or something like that.
So tell me about your kids. So oldest to youngest, your oldest must be in college.
Oldest is 22,
Okay.
boy. So my boys as bookends,
Okay.
22 and just turned 11 yesterday.
Okay.
And then girls are 21, 19, and 16.
Okay. Little gap between the 16 and the
Yes,
11.
for sure, absolutely. Keeps
Isn't
me
it-
young. It makes
Yeah.
me feel old, one of the two.
Oh, it's a surprise,
Yeah.
right? It's a fun little surprise. So are all 3? Is one graduated from college now?
So what we have, 3 are out of school. The oldest is working. The next 2 are in college. So our oldest daughter is down in Winona, nursing school, and then we just 2 weeks ago moved our middle daughter down to Texas at TCU. So, and then we have a junior and a 6th grader.
Okay. So are any of them planning that college career that you took that might take more than the 4-year plan?
I don't know. I hope not. College costs a little bit more than it did when I went to school, but
Really
I try to pass on the same like follow your dreams, whatever that is. Don't
Right.
let dad tell you what I think you should do, or anyone else for that
Yeah.
matter. So
Did they have some clarity as they're going into college? And I know one's already working. Did they know what they wanted?
no, the first daughter to go to college, Abigail, is like, I want to be a nurse. I want to be a nurse. I want to be a nurse. So I'm telling her like that's all. She is just like uber focused
Yeah.
on what she wants to do and working ahead. She's down at Mayo now. She has a job there. Just started classes.
Wow.
But I've told her like, don't be afraid to step back. And even though this has been your plan to step away from that and say,
Yeah.
I'm going to do something different. And
Yeah.
don't be afraid that we're going to say, well, but nursing was your thing. That's
Right.
not our thing. It's your
Yeah.
thing. So.
Yeah. So they feel like they have the freedom to not only make the choice but change their mind.
Yeah, for
Which
sure.
is good. That's a good parent support. So you said you played hockey too back in
Yes.
the day for Woodbury.
For Woodbury, yeah.
Okay. For the Stillwater people watching, they already don't like you. What position did you play?
Just play forward.
Okay. And did you end up meeting some people now that you've moved here that you actually played against back in high school?
Oh man, yeah. I'm a little bit older than some of the dads that I'm coaching with now, but yeah, there's a lot of connections, and I've been coaching for many years back at Woodbury, and then now for a lot of years here. So
Okay.
you just make those connections, and it's sort of a tight-knit community anyways. So everyone that I connect with is just awesome people that want to give their time and effort to kind of developing young men and
Yeah.
in the sport of hockey.
How would you describe yourself as a coach?
Well, I coach with some really awesome people that have had careers, long hockey careers up into including the NHL. So
Oh, wow.
I definitely don't have the knowledge base that they have, but I think just my leadership capabilities and the ability to motivate and help young men. At the end of the day, I don't really care about wins and losses. So winning is way more fun. But I want the kids to have a great experience and learn kind of life lessons from this sport that they can take on, because very few are going to go on to playing the NHL. So
Contrary to maybe what their parents might think.
very contrary to what their
You're
parents
right,
might think.
right. Only a few will.
Yeah.
So are you the one that gives the motivational speeches?
I don't know. I think
I
maybe a
kind
little
of
bit.
think you are.
Maybe a
I don't
little
know.
bit.
Yeah.
Just trying to keep them. I mean, they're right now. I'm coaching 10 and 11 and 12-year-old boys, and their minds are kind of all over, and super upset if they lose a game, and super down, or super up. If they win a game, and it's just kind of like, okay, boys, life is ups and downs for life, so it's just kind of.
Is this at the age where there still might be tears at a lot?
Yeah, there's still tears.
There's a lot of good emotion there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
Try to
that's
guide
fun
that
for
a little
you.
bit.
Yes.
I love it. It's one of my favorite things in life is coaching, for sure.
How do you find time to do it?
My wife is super awesome and takes care of a lot of other things, so I can be there. And it's also, I'm still coaching with my youngest son, so it's time with him.
Yeah.
And I'd be there anyways, and so now I have the ability to
Two
be
for one.
nice. Yeah, for sure. So
Yeah.
it'll be different when he's done playing, whenever that is.
Yeah.
And so.
Do you do men's leagues?
That's something I stopped doing kind of when I got into coaching, because historically they're like Sunday nights late. Like, oh, I don't want to be out late. And then it was like, if I'm coaching all this time, if I had a night off, I didn't want to go to the rink. I wanted to do other stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
kind of the same reason I don't golf, because I don't want to spend time away from family for that long.
It is a considerable, it's not like a 30-minute situation.
Right.
You're engaged for
Yes.
half a day at least.
Yeah.
Are you an early riser?
No, gosh, I wish I was.
Okay,
am
you
not.
got to tell me a day in your life. How does it,
Okay,
how
so
does it go?
so my wife and I get up, and depending on what her work schedule is, we're both just gonna boom, like, kids to school, kids to
Get
hockey
right into
tryouts, whatever's going on for the day. And then we kind of do our day and just stay in touch throughout our day and what's happening, what's gonna happen that evening, what the plans are. And then our days end sometimes at different times. Sometimes I'm working later with council meetings or events downtown, and sometimes she has meetings late, or she's doing something with the chamber that might take her in a different direction. And then so we kind of plan our evening and what's dinner gonna be. And then typically we like to find, for us, it's finding time after the kids are in bed to just us to connect and talk. And
So you're up later at night. So
typically, we're both like a lot of relationships, like someone might be a night owl and the other is like an early riser, and we're both night owls to the point where we're like, okay, we need to like go to bed earlier, but
we should cut this off.
yeah, but we're just running till late anyway, so we might actually sit down at 10 o'clock and be like, how's
Yeah,
your day?
that's your quiet time. You
Yeah.
get that little bit at the end.
Yeah.
Being in Stillwater and doing all the things, obviously, for your job, what parts do you enjoy just as your family? Like, what do you look forward to doing and you can't wait and you make sure you do on a yearly basis or daily even?
Daily. So we love the community. We love coming down for dinners downtown. My wife and I love like when we can just say, see you kids, and have date night downtown.
Yeah.
We have a boat, a pontoon up at Boomsite Marina, and so we love to kind of sneak out. We're pretty novice on the river, not like you guys are.
I don't know.
We're really novice, but it's been super fun just to go out on the river and just kind of chill, and especially after like the Lumberjack Days weekend or the 4th, where we love just looking at this awesome city. So.
Yeah. And are you boaters? Are you fishers? Because I've learned there's floaters.
Okay.
Yeah, there's different appeal to every person for boating.
What's it called if you just putt? So we have a we literally pull out of the marina, we go down and look at the city and kind of hang out for a minute. Maybe down to 94, that's as far as we go, and then we go north.
Okay.
And it's just quiet up there, except I almost got stuck once, so I got to be really careful.
Yeah, it's tricky
Right.
trying to navigate.
Right.
And I still feel like a rookie because the river, there's a lot to learn with the river.
Yeah, for sure.
So you are always looking forward to summer. During the winter months, then is that mostly hockey?
It's mostly hockey, and
Okay.
my wife and I love to travel too, with the kids and definitely without the kids. But we, so that's hard to find those times to get away during the winter time. So we try to find little times to get away.
So where are some of the places you've gone?
Oh my
Or
gosh.
your favorites?
I don't even know, like, we just have a blast everywhere we go, anywhere we go. We did a staycation. We went to a hotel in Minneapolis just for a couple nights and never left the hotel and just hung out there, awesome dinners, and just hung out together.
Yeah.
And then, we tried different little getaways, whether it's concerts or different places to go.
Yeah.
We turned in move-in weekend into a little getaway. a
Okay.
couple times, a
For your
little bit of time
daughter, for
alone.
college?
Yeah.
So if you were going to go to a concert, what's your jam?
What's my jam? My wife's jam is Luke Bryan, so that's
Okay,
that's
all
gonna
right.
happen.
I can feel that. Okay.
But we love everything. I mean, we just love live music.
Yeah.
And
You don't have like a fave?
No, I don't. Like
Okay.
we're going to Pitbull, I think Sunday or
Fun.
a little bit. We're going to
Edgy.
we've seen, Incubus. We'll go to the Armory to see shows. We'll go, State Fair. We've driven to country shows and other places. So
Very cool.
everything except opera. So if there's any opera fans out
We're
there.
sorry about that.
Yeah, sorry.
Chief does not like opera. That
It's
is
acquired taste,
it
kind
is,
of,
It is.
right?
Did you ever go to Opera on the River?
I love watching that, right?
Yeah, that's a
Obed and
different
the
experience.
Guys, everyone down there is, they're so good. I
Yeah.
don't know. I need to spend a little more time with that.
You're learning.
Right.
You might get there. Okay, this is very important since you're a former athlete. I believe a walk-on song has a lot of meaning for each person. So they're announcing you're in the NHL, and they play a song, and it's your walk-on song.
Man, my youngest Matthew would have about 10 right now, and he would be upset with me. What would a walk-on song be?
And it could be from your childhood walk-on song, like it could have been when you were in high school.
So everything we listened to was like Metallica and
Right.
AC/DC, right? Like there was like
100%.
hair bands, Motley Crue, all
Totally
that
hair
stuff.
bands, yeah.
I don't know that would be appropriate now, even though we still listen to it. And it's Sirius XM, like Hair Nation. My
Yeah.
wife and I are always jamming to that. So.
It still lives within you.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you don't have a particular.
No.
Okay. All right. We talked a little bit offline about Ted Lasso.
Yes,
Okay. He's really one of my favorites.
for sure.
What if you could tell me a few like moments? It doesn't have to be Ted Lasso, but in your life of sports or that were really influential in who you became today. This is kind of like it's a wrap up of telling us like
Yeah.
influential things that really formed your life that you really would love people to know and share about.
Wow, big question. I think for me, with sports, it's really simple. So I've been coaching a lot of years. Like I said, my oldest boy played, now my youngest boy, and I've coached before I had children. So I've seen a lot of kids move up. I've coached kids that eventually ended up in the NHL that I didn't probably have a direct influence on, but you realize that I've seen so many kids move up where I've coached the best players at their age, and then they don't play in high school even. And I've coached kids who are just feel like they're struggling, and they're like, oh, I love this sport, though I'm going to keep playing, and they end up playing high school. And so for me, it's just a message that it's the love of what you're doing and the hard work, and those two combined can get you anywhere. For whatever profession it is, or your love or your hobby, whatever. If you love what you're doing and you put the work in, the sky's the limit. You can be the best at anything.
So like the kids that are maybe just starting high school, maybe ninth grade, and they have an interest. It feels like now, ooh, I'm too late. Like for sports even.
Yeah.
Where a lot of times back in the day you could try a sport.
sure.
What do you tell that ninth grader that maybe wants to try hockey?
Well, what are you trying it for? Like hockey to me is a lifelong sport that I can play men's leagues, and it's an athletic, kind of can keep you in shape.
Yeah.
So I'd say go for it. There's tons of leagues out there. A lot
Yeah.
of kids have great experiences playing club
Yeah.
hockey at a lot of different schools, and they actually travel and do
Yeah.
really cool things. So again, I just tell people whatever it is that you love. Now, your expectations, if you're starting hockey in ninth grade, you might not make the high school team,
Sure.
but if you love it, you will find places to play and people to play with.
So if you love it, the experience is always going to give back to you
Absolutely.
in some way, shape,
Yeah,
or form.
for sure.
That's good advice. So thank you for joining us for Voices in the Valley. It was really great to get to
Thank
know
you
you a
for the
little
time.
bit better.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, and we hope you tune in next time.